So you asking about the situation around what I define as lifestyle medicine, because when you brought up the word, I was like, what are you trying to ask me? Because at the end of the day, medicine is about trying to keep you optimally healthy. It really hasn't been about how to manage your disease state, which could be lifestyle medicine. But what we're talking about is precision medicine that looks at improving your health span or your age span, right? So I always talk about lifestyle medicine as an orchestra.
Okay.
Because you've got your 3 buckets of music, which is, if you talk about violins, it's really about your ability to meditate and to have social well-being, right? Then there's another bucket where you're talking about sleep and meditation, right? And then obviously those 2 are one buckets, I think. And then your favorite thing to do, which is about exercise, right? And it's not even just exercise, it's also activity, right? It's not about always going at it with high intensity interval training. And then the middle bucket, which is kind of complicated in my view, is diet.
Right.
And I say that because some people view diet as food is just a source of fuel. It doesn't matter what the heck you put in it. A carb is a carb, a fat is a fat, a protein is a protein, but they're not created equal. And then where do you put the nutraceuticals and the supplements? So it's easy to talk about these 3 buckets of sleep, meditation, mindfulness, diet, supplementation, and exercise and activity and movement. But it's really hard to orchestrate them all together, because if you have violins and no percussion, or brass music and violins with no percussion, the piece of music doesn't play properly.
That's such an interesting way of looking at it. And I'm curious if there is like one unifying physiological factor that you think about in terms of the impact of a well-conducted orchestra. Like, if there was a physiological impact, like let's say I always look at mitochondria. I know you wrote a book about telomeres. I'm wondering if there's does all of this have an impact on our telomeres and can we measure this physiologically? We're talking about sleep and nutrition and exercise. We don't often think about that as medicine, but in fact, it actually is lifestyle medicine, and that can have an impact on our physiology, I think, maybe.
So 10 years ago, it's 10 years now, I wrote that book, Lifelines, How to Unlock the Secrets of Your Telomeres for a Longer, Healthier Life. Now, the reason I wrote it was it's really tough as doctors to have patients go, I don't feel any different, maybe just a little better. How do I know I'm actually slowing down my aging process? So telomeres now are much more broadly spoken about, and they're the tips of your chromosomes. And they shorten as we age because we're zipping and unzipping our DNA. And as we do that, this feed-on short piece on our DNA that allows us to transcribe our genetic material shortens with wear and tear. And when you get to a critical short length, it messes up our ability to photocopy properly. So it's like the photocopier machine being a little fritzy. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get sick, but it causes the body to have to constantly repair the wrong copies.
Got it.
Protein material. And when it gets really wrong, it causes chronic inflammation, autoimmune diseases, and our fear, the big C, cancer. So I went digging at this, and it turns out all the boring things that we say is important, like sleeping properly, exercising enough, eating healthy foods, having good balanced body weight, all matter to slow down the aging process of our telomeres. And then this other bucket of mindfulness and meditation re-triggers something called telomerase, which activates an enzyme that elongates back the telomere, and that allows you to lengthen it.
No way. So you can actually heal your DNA by meditating and sleeping.
Yes. And I think the piece of it that's not just meditating. I think it also leads into life purpose. And I think of it like this. If your body recognizes that you're sitting in a rocking chair, not engaging with other people, meaning that you have no purpose as a grandmother or grandfather, including, or your career just stopped and you isolated yourself in the middle of nowhere and you're just trying to survive on fish and water, making it a joke, then your body's like saying, you are not adding value to the longevity of the animal species Homo sapiens. Time for you to go. And that's why I think a lot of people don't realize that. To me, one of the worst things to do is to retire with no life purpose and think that you're just going to spend your money and enjoy life, whatever the heck that is. And that's sometimes for people eating whatever they want, drinking however they want, heck with the exercise, heck with people, and just hang. I think that's really not a good thing.
I think that the concept of retirement is, like playing shuffleboard in Florida or whatever is not the game anymore. It's like meaning, purpose, contribution, challenge, training, like living at the limits of what you're capable of. And since we're talking about lifestyle medicine, that also means longevity, which is how long you live, or health span, how long you live without chronic disease.